they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around us, how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And also, if you have not been receiving your notifications, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed. Okay, hello, Mel. Dangerous is in the virtual building. All right, Leon is here, Pearly. Okay, let's get into it. 504 NOLA. Just anticipate. All right, so Bronze Flat Power God, we the people. Okay, J Love the Queen. Sheila is here. Shout out to all of my loyal royals, everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they stay putting in work. Okay, so let's get into it. Listen, Trump's whole entire agenda is just failing miserably. And Black people, please pay attention because we're the reason why. Okay, we're going to get into it. Now, before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Don't forget, you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil, and usually she has sales like almost every week or every other week, okay? So, with that all being said, y'all's president has done it again. Let's get into it. Now, he's sitting here blaming Biden. First of all, let me just say the National Guard by the name of Sarah Berkson or Bergstrom, that's her name. She's 20 years old or was 20 years old. She passed away from her injuries. Okay, she died from her injuries. Now, I reported to you all the other day over the weekend. Not over the weekend. The other day. I'm thinking it's the weekend. Because of Thanksgiving. Okay, but anyway, I reported to you all the other day that there was a shooting. National Guards were attacked. They said it was a targeted attack, like an ambush, and 2 guards shot, but one of them has died. And Trump doesn't want to take any accountability. Now, he's the one that brought these troops out here, okay, when there was no need. The governors didn't want them there. And at the end of the day, this is all looking bad on him. So what is he doing? Well, the same thing he always does, deflecting and projecting. He's blamed it on the Biden administration because now we find out that the shooter actually had been working with the CIA. And there was a program that Biden had when he was, the Biden's administration had called Operation Allies Welcome. Okay, where they got some of the people who helped them over in Afghan, and some of these people are Afghanistan, of course, but they allowed some of them to come over here as allies. Okay, and the thing is, Trump's blaming Biden for allowing this man into our country in September of 2021. But the interesting thing is, it is your president, Donald J. Trump himself, who gave this man asylum. He's the one who gave this man asylum in April of 2025. So I find it interesting that he and his administration is trying to blame Biden because Trump's been deporting people, right? He's been carrying out mass deportations, has he not? Well, why didn't he deport the man? Why didn't he do it? Because he gave him asylum. Okay. And then when a reporter asked him about it, why he was blaming Biden when and also he's lying, saying the man wasn't vetted. Okay, this is all just lies and BS. But when a reporter asked him about it, he called the woman stupid. Okay, he called her stupid, just like he always does when someone asks him a question or wants to hold him accountable or wants him to simply just tell the truth for a change. Well, he called the woman stupid. But let's get into it because there's new information being reported about the shooting. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
New information on the sequence of events surrounding this shooting. And one of the reasons that we're getting some new information here is that we're finally getting access to the actual spot where the shooting occurred. And I'm standing on that spot right now. This is the Farragut West Metro Station. This is the spot where the shooting occurred. And we have traces of the shooting, some evidence left behind here. You can see in this planner, that's an exit from a bullet that went in. There's a hole on the other side here that's a cleaner hole. The bullet exited the planter here. And we can walk you over here where officials said that at least one of the guardsmen who was attacked tried to take cover behind this bus shelter. And you can see here, you can see this glass here, but this panel here has been completely knocked out or shot out. You can see the fragmented glass right there and fragmented glass right there. Unclear if it was completely shot out or whether it might have been taken out as evidence by authorities, but it's gone now. We'll walk you over here. This is another planter where a part of this planter has been removed. I'm going to take you over here as we show you the other part of the planter. Walking over here past a makeshift memorial where people have laid flowers and put an American flag. And as we walk over here and show this planter, this part of the planter that was taken out, 2 more bullet holes, one here and one here. The 2 National Guardsmen in question, Sarah Beckstrom, 20 years old, and Andrew Wolf, 24 years old, remain in critical condition at a local hospital. We have made inquiries to that hospital about the surgeries that they might have had and what units they're being treated in. The hospital has not gotten back to us yet.
Okay, prayers and condolences to the family of Sarah Beckstrom. It is really so sad. This lady was only 20 years old, probably had just become a National Guardsman. And thanks to Trump, because I absolutely hold him accountable and blame him for it. I told you all that people were going to die with the things that Trump is doing. Didn't I say it? And here we are. Trump is so ridiculous. And like I said, he's trying once again to skirt responsibility. This all falls on him. Okay, but anyway, it's all so sad. Let's keep going. And mind you, Andrew Wolf, the other guard that was shot, is still in critical condition. Yes, he absolutely does, Nene. He has blood on his hands.
All right, so some breaking news. They've got some updates on the shooter right now. Apparently, according to NBC News reporters, they said that the FBI will be initially investigating the shooting as a possible act of terrorism, according to two senior U.S. law enforcement officials. The officials said the suspect, who is alleged to have used a handgun, has been initially identified as an Afghan national. Law enforcement officials are still trying to confirm all the person's details. He didn't have any identification on him, so that obviously makes it much more difficult. A motive has not yet been determined, and the nature of the investigation could change, but that is the most up-to-date information. Both National Guard members were shot in the head. Both of them were. Now, the FBI is taking point on this investigation, and like I said, they're treating this as an act of terrorism for right now. But the last update I can give right now is from field reporter Julio Rosas, who's a U.S. Marine, and he was out there saying that law enforcement sources in D.C. told him that the National Guardsman shooting suspect is an Afghan national who used a revolver in the attack.
And he shot one of them twice, and it was likely Sarah. Okay, he shot one of them twice, according to the reports that I read on yesterday. This is all just so sad. It really, really is. People out here trying to do their job and dead now thanks to Trump. Okay, here's a report from NBC.
Tonight, chilling new details about the shooting that left two National Guardsmen gravely wounded.
A lone gunman opened fire without provocation, ambush style, armed with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver.
The aftermath caught on video after the lone gunman opened fire.
One guardsman is struck, goes down, and then the shooter leans over and strikes the guardsman again. Another guardsman is struck several times.
Officials not naming a motive, but believe the attack was targeted.
It is an ongoing investigation of terrorism. Make no mistake about it.
The shooter said to have traveled thousands of miles.
What we know about him is that he drove his vehicle across country from the state of Washington with the intended target of coming to our nation's capital.
And we now know the identities of the victims, 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, members of the West Virginia National Guard. And late tonight, President Trump announcing Beckstrom has died, calling her a highly respected, magnificent person.
She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her. It's just happened.
The suspect, Rahmanullah Lochinwall, is a 29-year-old Afghan national who came to the U.S. in 2021. He served in the Afghan army for 10 years, according to a relative NBC News spoke with. The CIA says he worked with a CIA-backed military unit known as Zero Units. They were trained and overseen by the CIA and operated under a veil of secrecy during the Afghan war, conducting combat operations and securing intelligence outposts. Lochinwall was brought to the U.S. under a Biden-era resettlement program, according to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But he was granted asylum this year under the Trump administration, according to a source familiar with the case and a law enforcement source. During that chaotic scene, the alleged shooter was shot by another National Guard member during the attack and is now in custody at the hospital.
Melanie joins us now from outside of George Washington Hospital, where the suspect is being treated. And Mel, the expectation now appears to be that there'd be an escalation of the federal charges the suspect is facing.
That's right, Hallie. We are now expecting the suspect to be charged with murder, according to officials. And already authorities have conducted a search on the suspect's home in Washington state, seizing cell phones, laptops, and other items that are going to be analyzed. Hallie.
Also egregious. And let me tell you all something. Trump is such a liar. He said the man wasn't vetted. And you just heard them say that the man worked with CIA. Yes, he did. He worked with the CIA for 10 years, for a whole decade. And you think he wasn't vetted? See, what Biden's trying to do, not Biden, what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to make this all Biden's fault, like I said. And by him saying the man wasn't vetted, that would definitely make Biden look bad. But in fact, he was vetted by DHS and the CIA. Okay, he was vetted more than anybody normally would. And then when they were allowed to come over here under that program, they were promised that they would go through some sort of asylum program. Okay. And remember how I told you all that Trump says, or he thinks that people who get political asylum or come here for asylum are crazy and they escape from an asylum or a mental facility in their own country. I think he definitely still thinks it, even though he granted that man asylum. You know why? Because when he's talking to the reporter, he says they come over here and they go cuckoo. Y'all's president is crazy. Okay, so let's go to the video of where he called this reporter stupid for simply asking him a very valid question. Because why are you trying to blame it on Biden? And if you want to blame Biden, you should also at least blame yourself. Okay, we could say that Biden was partially responsible for the man being here because of the Operations Allies Welcome program. But at the end of the day, Trump is the one who kept him here and gave him asylum. So, Trump, please sit down somewhere. Okay, everything about Trump's administration is falling apart at the seams. And I want you all to pay attention. One of the main reasons, in my opinion, that it's falling apart at the seams is because Black people have chosen, those of us who are smart, I'm not talking about the raccoons, but the majority of Black people who have common sense and exercise critical thinking skills and know that Trump and his entire regime is the Third Reich. Okay, they're racist. With that all being said, we have not participated in the buffoonery. We have not bothered to go out there with the, no kings protest. We've not been out there protesting against ICE. We've stayed out of it, and for a very good reason, because it don't have anything to do with us. Okay, the people that voted for him, they need to be out there protesting. They need to be out there, trying to make a ruckus because they're the ones that got him in there in the first place. At the end of the day, the fact that we have not been out there actively engaging in the foolishness, this is, and also, I want you all to think about it. When Trump sent those troops to Washington, D.C., and he sent them to Chicago, he's sending them to Democratic states. He's also sending them to Black people's neighborhoods and communities. He was hoping that Black people would be so angry and retaliate. He was hoping that there would be rioting in the streets, destruction of property. He wants martial law, and he needed and depended and hoped that Black people would go out there and act like a damn fool and give him what he wanted, and we did not. And so now everything's falling apart. All of the lies are becoming unraveled. The whole Epstein debacle that he tried to escape still unfolded. And now he's looking even worse than he ever has. Okay, but let's continue. I want y'all to pay attention, honey. We stopped him dead in his tracks. Okay, him and his MAGA clowns, they thought they were going to have their way, but look how it's all going bad for him real quick. Okay, please pay attention.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here. And you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful.
He said you can't get them out once they come in. What is he talking about? He's been getting people out of here for months now. Okay? So with that all being said, I find it interesting. And then he called that woman stupid. He's the one that's stupid. And the reporter didn't say anything. And the male reporters, they just all looked down at their shoes. One of them had, looked like he was a deer in the headlights. I don't understand why these reporters just allow Trump to talk crazy to them. Are they going to get fired from their positions for speaking up for themselves? Because if Trump called me stupid, honey, to my face, I would tell him, sir, I'm many things, but stupid isn't one. Okay. In fact, I think a lot of people, millions globally, will likely think that you're obtuse. And I definitely think so. Okay, that's what I would have told him. Get the F out of here. Who does Trump think he is? Okay, who does this man think he is at the end of the day? So with that all being said, let's continue. I'm going to go to a few more reports. And, like I told you all, oh, and let me get into the vetting process. Yeah, I almost forgot to tell you all about that because I did my research and I looked it up about the vetting process and everything because Trump was sitting there lying. Okay, so what we know is that the man entered the U.S. in September of 2021 under the program Operation Allies Welcome, known as OAW, which was implemented under the Joe Biden administration to evacuate eligible Afghans after the fall of Kabul. Now, his asylum application was processed later, and he was granted asylum in April of 2025. He actually had filled out the application for asylum in December of 2024. Okay, so but Trump is the one who approved it. Okay, so the question of vetting comes up according to official statements. Now, he had been vetted, including being cleared of disqualifying information when he first entered via the Operation Allies Welcome program. However, critics claim the vetting was insufficient given the alleged attack. Now, the Central Intelligence Agency stated that this individual should never have been allowed to come here. But he was. And with that all being said, here's the thing. So, the Department of Homeland Security described the program or the people that came, the arrivals, as undergoing a rigorous and multi-layered screening and vetting process before entering the U.S. Biometric and biographic screenings, such as fingerprints, facial, the iris, palm scans, photos, and voice prints. These were all done by intelligence, law enforcement, and counterterrorism professionals from agencies including DHS, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I think I said the CIA vetted them, but I was mistaken. It was actually the FBI. National Counterterrorism Center, known as NCIC, and the Department of Defense. So they must clear these checks overseas, and if they fail these checks while they're still overseas, they will not be permitted to board a flight to the United States. Now, after arrival in the U.S., additional inspection by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol or Border Protection and other components may occur, and entry can be denied if issues arise at the points of entry. Medical screening and vaccinations, those are all required, such as the MMR, the Stupid 19, varicella, polio, and others, And this is basically considered a condition of humanitarian parole. So a DHS Office of Inspector General, the audit on September of 2022 found that DHS and CBP did not always have critical data to properly screen, vet, or inspect evacuees. For example, missing, incomplete name, date of birth, identification, travel documents, etc. The audit further found that CBP admitted or paroled evacuees who were not fully vetted in the U.S. under that program. Now, the congressional record flagged that the root causes included lacking a list of evacuees with insufficient identification, no contingency plan for emergency evacuations, with little documentation. The U.S. did intend to vet evacuees via biographic checks before traveling to the U.S. Now, after arrival, additional vetting and inspection and monitoring also happened. But clearly this man, even though he was vetted, he was still a whole terrorist. And here's the thing. Now, this is what I want you all to pay attention to. Here's the reason, because they're talking about a motive, why this man did this. I'm going to tell you the motive, or at least what I think the motive is. Trump has radicalized people. And in fact, Trump has been dealing with terrorists. He had a whole terrorist at the White House. I told you all about it. And at the end of the day, he made a deal with the Taliban, supposedly. Let me say allegedly. But that's what has been reported, that Trump supposedly made a deal with the Taliban. Now, we know that the Taliban is currently operating in Afghanistan, they're in power, they're in control. And remember how I told you all, I thought it was so interesting how, the US went over to Afghanistan 20 plus years ago. They were over there for 20 years, supposedly trying to take the Taliban out of power, only for Biden's administration to pull out the troops, and the Taliban was back in power. Okay, so now Trump doing deals with them supposedly and all of these things. This is all alleged, as I said, but if this is all true, well, wouldn't that be a reason for this man to do what he did? Because they said it was targeted, and clearly it was. Because here's something that they won't be talking about. And the person that talked about it, and I'm going to choose my words real carefully, because the person that talked about this, well, their account got banned on TikTok. So what has gone on supposedly, and they had receipts, is that this young lady, Sarah Beckstrom, and the 24-year-old guard, Andrew Wolf, who is still in the hospital in critical condition, suspiciously, because I find it very suspicious, their names were Googled over in another country right before that shooting. Now, I'm not going to say what that other country is, but I will say that if you talk negative about that country, you might lose your passport. Hence why that man's account got banned. Just want y'all to pay attention. So a whole lot going on that they're not going to tell us. Okay, please pay attention. At the end of the day, it is all a whole lot worse than you probably think. Okay? Why were their names Googled over there? Anyone venture to guess? And then they were the ones that were shot. I just have questions. Is all I'm saying. But let's go to this next video. Like, sub, everyone, please. Like and share. And remember, you heard all this here first.
This is everything we know about the Washington, D.C. shooter, the suspect, and the guardsmen that were shot. This is 29-year-old Rahmanullah Lakawol. And from what we're finding out, we still don't know the motive and why he tried to take out these two guardsmen, which we'll go over their names in a second. But what we are finding out is that he had connections to the U.S. CIA. This was confirmed by the CIA director, John Radcliffe, who said that when the U.S. was inside of Taliban, he was someone who was helping the CIA. So the New York Times actually confirmed that he worked for multiple U.S. agencies. And then back in 2021, as the United States was pulling out of Afghanistan, he was one of the people that were flown back to the United States. This was done under the program Operation Allies Welcome, in which those who had helped the United States as we're pulling out, we told them, hey, you helped us, come back to the United States and we'll put you through essentially an asylum program. While we don't know the motive on why he came to Washington, D.C., from what we know is that he came to D.C. and for some reason targeted these two National Guard members. This is 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, and this over here is 24-year-old Andrew Wolf. They had just been sworn into the West Virginia National Guard less than 24 hours earlier. According to the investigation, he used a revolver to shoot one of the Guard members twice before firing at the second. We don't know which order that came in. And then from there, other National Guard members fired back. Both of these National Guard members are in critical condition, as it looks like they did shoot them in the head. Then when it comes to him, he's hospitalized. We don't know his condition, but it seems like he's under arrest and he is awake. I mean, there had been photos of him at the scene, not wearing really much of anything as they were starting their investigation. Federal prosecutors have already charged him with assault with intent to kill and firearms offenses. But if one of these do pass, that could be upgraded to first-degree murder. We're also seeing now multiple investigations taking place, some in Washington, D.C., some in San Diego, some in Washington State, as they're trying to put together, is this a terrorist incident? Are they going to be expecting more of these things happening? At the same time, USCIS has paused all immigration processes for Afghan nationals pending a review of the vetting procedure. President Trump has now ordered 500 more National Guard members brought to Washington, D.C. because they're worried about this being a terrorist incident. This investigation is now expanding as they're really trying to figure out if he's working with anyone.
Okay, y'all heard that. They're trying to see if the man's working with anyone else here or outside of the country. But here's the thing. You should ask yourselves, okay? Because I really think what I'm saying as to the motive of this whole attack is absolutely right. Trump is radicalizing people with his racist, hateful, divisive rhetoric. Okay, that's what he's doing. People are getting upset. This man is an Afghan national. He was formerly helping the CIA for 10 whole years. What would make him turn on the United States and do something like that? Trump. It was Trump. That's the answer I'm going to go with. I really think that it was Trump. Okay? They view Trump as a traitor over there. Listen, when the Taliban's in charge, women are not allowed to leave the house wearing anything, showing anything other than their eyeballs. They're not allowed to get educations, any of those things. Okay? They can get assaulted or whatever. And at the end of the day, you know, these people had help from the US. Okay? They had troops over there and all of that. But now Trump is making deals with them, supposedly. Yeah, absolutely. They think he's a traitor. Okay, that's why that man did what he did. This whole thing, no matter how we slice it, no matter how the Republicans try to twist it and flip the narrative, Trump is solely responsible for these National Guards being shot. Okay, let's pray that the second one doesn't die with his stupid self, but he wants to call somebody else stupid. The same person who wouldn't dare risk his life, okay, being drafted, talking about bone spurs. Find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. And here is the person. Here is the person whose account got banned. Now, the only reason I'm able to have this video of him is because someone else had shared it, but his account's gone. Okay. And he basically in this video is talking about how the US has been infiltrated.
It turns out the U.S. Department of Homeland Security might be run out of a different country. The backstory here is that X just rolled out this new feature that allows people to see more information about accounts, including.
Now, I believe in this video he mentions a certain country, so pay attention.
Including where that user is from. For instance, here's the information that people could see about my account. But check this out right here. What is that all about? Anyways, right after that feature rolled out, X abruptly announced that they were going to pause the account location feature for an unknown reason. And then just a couple hours ago, they announced that they will be once again rolling this feature out where you could see where people's accounts are based. Except now, when you go to the DHS page, that information has all been scrubbed, which is really weird because when you go to other people's accounts, that information appears to still be available. X says that based on where the actual person is who's running the account, that location information could change, which is why they're doing some kind of randomized delayed schedule to ensure that it's not possible to dox somebody, which suggests that they are maybe manually removing that information from some accounts for maybe national security reasons. Like the location information is also not available for the official White House account. But interestingly, the geolocation for one Pastor Rob McCoy is also not available. If you know, you know.
Okay, I thought he was going to mention the country in that video, but it's obviously another one that I saw where he was talking about the reason for TikTok, you know, having all these issues and them talking about banning TikTok and all of that was because of that same country that he said Googled those two guards before their attack. So is that true? I don't know. But at the end of the day, what I do know is for some strange reason, his account's banned. And then somebody took his information and made a whole nother video. I'm not going to show it, but they made a whole nother video with his receipts. And when they started the video, the first thing they said was, if anything happens to me, I didn't do it to myself. Just want y'all to pay attention. Okay, just want y'all to pay attention. Now, here's the thing. Kristi Noem. So Kristi Noem, Judge Pirro, or Jeanine Pirro, they're all trying to act like this is not, you know, any fault of Trump's. Here's what Christie says. DC National Guard shooting suspect identified as Afghan national who had worked with the CIA. And here's what we know. So Afghan national named Ramullah Lakanwal has been identified as the suspected shooter in the ambush attack that killed one National Guard member and wounded another just blocks away from the White House on Wednesday, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Now, the CIA said Thursday that Lakanwal previously worked with the U.S. government, including CIA, as a member of a partner force in Canador that ended in 2021 following the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The suspect was shot by another Guard member and taken into custody. He's currently hospitalized, and no other suspects have been brought forward. Now, with that all being said, U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro said Friday the suspect will be charged with murder in the first degree. On Thursday, she said he was facing charges of assault with intent to kill while armed and possession of a firearm during a crime of violence. So here's what we know about the suspect so far. This story will be updated and additional information confirmed. Well, I'll definitely be looking for the additional information. So first of all, he's 29 years old, came here in September of 2021. Okay, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said on X that the suspect was paroled into the U.S. on September the 8th of 2021 under a Biden-era program of Afghan nationals called Operation Allies Welcome. President Trump described him, this is what Kristi Noem says, President Trump described him as a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. Okay, that's what she said in a video message Wednesday. He said the suspect's status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden. So his status was extended under Biden-Trump. That's what you're going to go with? Okay. A Department of Homeland Security official told CBS News the suspect was paroled into the U.S. on humanitarian grounds back in 2021, and that the main legal mechanism the Biden administration used to welcome tens of thousands of Afghan evacuees after the Taliban takeover in 2021. They say Lakanwal later applied for asylum with U.S. citizenship. Okay, we already know all this. Let me see if there's any updated information. They say the suspect is not cooperating, okay? He was subdued at the scene of the shooting and taken into custody by National Guard members and law enforcement officers Jeff Carroll, Executive Assistant Chief of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, okay, gave the information on Wednesday. Now, at this time, he isn't cooperating. So Carroll said the suspect appeared to be a lone gunman that raised the firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard as they patrolled near a mass transit station in downtown D.C. Now, the suspect had 4 rounds in his handgun initially. Multiple sources familiar with the investigation gave the information to the details to CBS News. First victim, a female Guard member, was struck immediately and collapsed right where she stood, so said. She sustained at least 2 gunshot wounds during the ambush. So 2 shots to the head. It's surprising that the poor woman held on as long as she did. May she rest in peace. So then the suspect took her weapon and used it to continue shooting, striking the second Guard member, according to multiple sources. A third Guard member who was not injured ultimately returned fire, ending the attack. Now, one of the victims, 20-year-old Army Special Sarah Beckstrom, has died, and President Trump made the announcement on Thursday. So the second victim, Air Force Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, age 24, is in critical condition after undergoing surgery, according to Pirro. So the Guard members were on high visibility patrols, according to Carroll, as part of a months-long deployment of National Guard troops from D.C. and several states ordered by Donald J. Trump. Okay, Pirro said Thursday morning that the suspect drove to D.C. from Bellingham in Washington state with the intended target of coming to our nation's capital. She said the suspect lived with his wife and officials believe 5 children. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel said a search warrant had been executed at the suspect's last known address in Washington state. Based on what was found at the address, law enforcement were able to find people associated with him in San Diego. So during that process, they seized numerous electronic devices to include cell phones, laptops, iPads, and other material that is being analyzed as we speak, according to Patel. Interviews were conducted and are going to continue to be conducted, and we will go anywhere in the country or the world where the evidence leads us, he says. Okay, Kash Patel is on the job. Multiple family members of the suspect in Washington state have been interviewed by investigators following a search of the suspect's Bellington home. Multiple law enforcement sources gave information to CBS on Thursday. Now, federal law enforcement led by the FBI are scrutinizing and analyzing the suspect's digital footprint. The Department of Homeland Security had earlier spelled his last name as Lakamal, but it's Lakwal. Okay? So, like I said, very disturbing at the end of the day. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, let's go to ICE, because ICE, hold on, spying on us. What do y'all have to say about that? Yeah, they supposedly, or they wanted to spy on us. That was the whole thing. According to Rachel Maddow, do y'all remember that? Do you all remember any of that? I think I told you all about this before. How, hold on. Danny said Cash ain't doing ish. No, he isn't. And I think that Trump really was thinking about getting rid of him. I don't think that was just a rumor, because that came from sources who supposedly had inside information, but then they walked it back and said that wasn't the case. I guess they figured out that it would make them look even more stupid, okay, than they already are. So anyway, with that all being said, let's continue. Hold on. My stuff just went off the screen. Let me pull it back up real quick. Okay, here we go. Now let's talk about this whole thing, because like I said, Rachel Maddow had reported how ICE wanted to spy on us, have us under surveillance. And if you all remember, when Doge wanted all of our personal information, I was like, why do they need everybody's information? Are they trying to spy on people? Because that's what it seems like. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Okay. And I'm pretty sure I told you all this a month ago when Rachel first said it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Trump administration is trying to give themselves all sorts of new, very intrusive powers against American citizens who might want to protest against them. And this is a subject that I think there is a real media challenge in.
Now, here's what I want you all to pay attention to. She said people who might protest against him. That goes back to what I said, okay? He definitely wanted Black people out there in the streets. All of the MAGA crew did. Wanted Black people out there in the streets so they could blame everything on us. And so Trump could have people just brutalized and locked up and arrested. And, oh, I have to declare martial law. It's getting out of hand. They're doing too much. But what he isn't going to do, in my opinion, is just declare martial law on his MAGA people that have turned their backs on him and that are now upset because they see how it's all going wrong. Well, he doesn't want to declare martial law just on them, okay? But him or the Republicans, they really wanted us at the end of the day. And so that didn't happen. Okay, that's right. Claudette said, try again. Mel says, Trump is trying to distract us and take away from what's really going on. He's been doing that. He can't help himself. I mean, if you were dealing with Epstein, wouldn't you want people to stop talking about it? I wouldn't want to ever hear that name again, especially with all the receipts that we have on Trump and his closeness to Epstein. And here's another thing, too. Steve Bannon talking about Trump's going to be in a third term. Trump's not even going to finish this term 9 times out of 10. Okay, Trump, in my opinion, absolutely, unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, has frontal temporal dementia. Okay, I absolutely believe that he has it. And so his cognitive decline is going to continue. You don't come back from that. And it's interesting because he was talking all that crap about Biden. Okay.
In terms of conveying the seriousness of this stuff. And I've struggled it with myself. This is a story that I care about a lot. I think it's hard to convey. It's hard to get people to picture exactly the risk here. Not too long ago, a couple years ago, I wrote the introduction to this book. It's called Pegasus: How a Spy in Your Pocket Threatens the End of Privacy, Dignity, and Democracy. I did not write this book. It's an excellent book. It's written by two amazing, investigative, award-winning journalists from France. I wrote the introduction to that book, though, because I've been basically like standing on my head, contorting myself, trying to figure out a way to do this story, how to make it make sense to an American audience, that we need to watch out now in this generation today. We need to watch out for a kind of authoritarian surveillance technology that was never, ever available to authoritarian regimes in the past, but is available to authoritarian regimes now.
And in our time, this technology has been sitting on the table like a loaded gun, waiting for a would-be dictator to come to power in America and use it against us. You may remember when the Washington Post columnist and longtime Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi was kidnapped and murdered. You may remember the salient detail that they cut up his body with a bone saw. Responsibility for Khashoggi's murder has been laid squarely at the feet of the Saudi government.
Okay, this is what I told you all about a week or so ago. This is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia who ordered the man's murder. And Trump had him in the White House. Trump had this man in the White House defending him, talking about the victim, saying he was controversial, not many people liked him, and all of that. Yeah, he's in bed with terrorists, okay? Trump is in bed with terrorists. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
The tactical means by which they got to him has in part been laid to a piece of spyware. Cell phone spyware called Pegasus. It's spyware that infects your phone. They target your phone. You don't have to do anything wrong to be infected.
Y'all see where that spyware comes from? Y'all see where it comes from, right? Yeah, pay attention.
With it, you don't have to click on anything or do anything. They infect your phone with this spyware without you ever knowing it. Your phone shows no sign of it. And once they have infected your phone, they get access to everything that is on your phone and everything that you do with your phone.
Y'all hear that? Gives them access to everything on your phone and everything you do on your phone. Okay, remember when I told you all that, in my opinion, Trump has been told to dismantle America from the inside out? Who do y'all think told him to do it? Just keep that to yourself, but I just want y'all to think about it. You don't have to tell me. But who do y'all think has him doing all of this? Who's in his pocket, okay? Who hired him? That's all I'm saying.
They can access its location at any time. They can turn on the microphone to hear what's happening where you are. They can turn on the camera to see you and what's around you. They can see all of the photos on your phone, all of your contacts, all of your messages, all of your notes to self, everything, even stuff that you might think is encrypted. It's not encrypted when you look at it on your phone. If you can look at it on your phone, they will have it. People close to Jamal Khashoggi were found to have been targeted, to have had their phones targeted with Pegasus software before he was murdered. Pegasus has been used to target opposition politicians and activists and lawyers and journalists all over the world, some of whom have subsequently been assassinated by despotic regimes.
Y'all hear that? They said activist as well. Now, I want you to pay attention to that, because remember the activist that I've been talking about for the past few days with the whole Kanika Jenkins story, Jedediah Brown? Do you all know that he had an incident in 2016 at a Trump rally? I'm pretty sure they're targeting him too. But let's continue. I'll show you all the footage later.
When this kind of a spyware surveillance tool emerged as a favored weapon for authoritarian governments and murderous dictatorships around the world, the Joe Biden administration banned the US government from ever using that particular spyware or anything like it. Well, then Donald Trump was elected, and the Trump administration has now quietly reversed that ban. And indeed, they have now contracted with a company that makes exactly that same kind of spyware as Pegasus. And which part of the Trump administration is using it? Which part of the Trump administration has been given this surveillance tool? ICE. And are they using it just against immigrants? Yeah, right, as if. Headline in the Washington Post: ICE amps up its surveillance powers. ICE's acting director says the agency will deploy its elite investigative officers to probe anti-ICE protest networks. Former officials have expressed concern that ICE now has a green light not only to monitor immigrant communities, but also to carry out broad surveillance of Americans, exercising their First Amendment right to oppose government action. U.S. citizens who may not themselves be suspected of crimes. According to the Electronic Privacy Information Center, quote, "We don't know if law enforcement or ICE are even getting search warrants to deploy this software." Paragon, the company that makes this version of this no-click take over your phone software, which Trump has now given to ICE. Paragon software has been used by the Italian government to infect the phones of opposition politicians and activists who help immigrants. Penlink, another surveillance company that provides real-time location data about you to the government without a warrant. It's been used in the past to target opposition politicians and activists in Mexico and also in Hong Kong. Now our government, and specifically ICE, has those and more. Again, supposedly to use in their, mission against immigrants, but also apparently to use against Americans who are protesting against them, and to use that stuff with or without a warrant, and with or without any restraint at all. This turns your own phone into a spy against you. This is a surveillance capability I have been laying awake at night thinking about for the past couple of years. Now Trump is in power, and Americans are protesting against him every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. And so naturally, he is happily signing the contracts that give his government this power. And he is handing this power to the most untrained, most lawless, most aggressive, pseudo-military parts of his government to use against American citizens, without warrants and without us being notified that it's happening. What are they going to do to us with this stuff? And what do we do about it?
Y'all hear that? Okay, what are they up to? Well, martial law, clearly. Okay? That's what they're up to. They're trying their damnedest. Now, and let's go back to Steve Bannon, when he seemed to be so sure and certain that Trump's going to get a third term.
Third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you can tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term, right? And he'll get that in 28.
You're not driving me crazy. I'm really I'm trying to understand the coherence of the things you've just told me. On the one hand, you've said the Constitution is fit for purpose. Secondly, you've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's on his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through, Zanny, and define all those terms.
But you will be undermining the spirit of that amendment, even if you find some way around it.
If the American people, with the mechanisms we have, put Trump back in office, are the American people tearing up the Constitution? Would that be tearing up? Would the American people be going against the spirit of the Constitution, ma'am?
I think yes, actually, because I think what you will end up with is a populist justification for a quasi-dictatorship.
That's not true at all. Trump
That's what it sounds like.
It's not. Trump is a dictatorship. Did you just see the compromises he had to make on the big, beautiful bill? You see the compromises he has to do on everything, on accommodating Zelensky, on what President Trump is nothing but a series of negotiations to kind of keep this thing rolling forward, where he's having trade-offs all the time.
Steve, you've just spent the last 20 minutes telling me we have to smash the other side. There's no room for debate. There's no room for compromise. We must smash them. And now you're telling me this is a negotiation. I mean, that's
no.
I guess that's why it seems to me some kind of tension there.
The only way President Trump wins in 2028 and continues to stay in office is by the will of the American people. Okay? And the will of the American people is what the Constitution embodies. And so I think we're going to be in good hands there. We need to finish what we started.
Trump's not getting a third term. Trump is not even going to finish this term. Okay? Trump's not going to finish this term due to health reasons. All right, I want y'all to pay attention. He's not going to finish this term even due to health reasons. And when it happens, just remember you heard it here first. Okay, so with that all being said, and here's further proof that he's not going to last. That he's definitely not going to be in a third term, let alone this one. Okay, he's got 3 more years, and I don't think he's going to last. He's going to have to step down.
See Donald Trump falling asleep while his administration is talking is the sweetest joy on the planet right now, especially while Robert Kennedy Jr. is talking. I think.
Okay, but he had so much to say about sleepy Joe Biden. Please pay attention, honey. He's falling asleep himself.
That we should have with the health people, we should also bring the Donald is like, this is so bad. Oh boy. What do you got to say? What do you got to say? Dr. Oz, here he comes, boy. He's not, you're not even a real doctor. Go ahead. Yes, okay. What are we gonna do for the medical? What are you gonna do for the people? Please tell me you're terrible. Oh my God. Okay. Whoa. What did happen? Oh, hello, Biden. Where are you? Okay. What were you saying? Wait, what were you saying? What was your speech? Oh, I'm sorry. Kamala. Oh, I'm sorry. I was falling asleep. What were you saying again for the administration? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, 2028. I'm definitely running again. Jesus Christ. Get away from me, Obama. Get away. Yo, that was fucking hilarious. That just sums up this administration. Fucking sleepy. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Trump is like literally sleeping on his own fucking administration because he don't believe the shit they're saying. You know what? I actually did an episode of Dr. Oz. What a piece of shit. But the fact that he fell asleep. Now, what are you Trump supporters going to say now? Well, fuck you, man. You're just racist because he's asleep. What was Donald Trump daydreaming about? I can't wait to get rid of my whole administration. They don't even realize it. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying? Oh, my God. Erica Kirk, she's pretty hot, isn't she? Oh, what? Billions and billions. I'm going to take it all. What? Oh, Kamala. She's pretty hot, too. I have to admit it. What? Oh, boy. Everybody thought I was a president. I'm nothing but a con man. And they fell for it. What? I'm sorry. What were you saying? That was great to see Donald Trump falling asleep while his administration is talking is the sweetest joy.
Did y'all hear it? I'm through. I am so through. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, so let's get into this because Plackett goes in, okay, about I'm sorry, no. Stacey Plaskett. She goes in because they're saying that she was getting advice from Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, she responds to the resolution condemning her uh for texting Epstein. Okay, let's get into it. This is a black woman, honey. I want y'all to pay attention. Like, step, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. And let me just tell you all something. Before I go to this clip, let me say this. MAGA. I'm pretty sure y'all think Obama, or you would appreciate if Obama was in office right about now. Okay, those of you who are complaining, who have buyer's remorse, y'all had so much to say about Barack and Michelle just because they were black. They went in on Obama for wearing a tan suit. Did y'all see that ugly suit Trump had on the other day in that tie? Was that presidential? But they went in on that man for wearing a suit, said Michelle was a man, okay, said she looked like a monkey, all kinds of hateful things they said. All kinds of things they said. And Luna, one of our own people, right? Now, Luna also said Michelle was a man. Okay, that's what my moderator told me last week. I didn't see it, but my moderator told me the other day that Luna said the same thing about Michelle Obama. Now, Luna is always caping for Trump, but you want to talk about Michelle Obama. I find that interesting, don't y'all? Anyway, let's continue. I'm going to share my screen. So here we go.
You heard. I yield 6 minutes now to the distinguished gentlelady from Virgin Islands, Representative Plaskett.
Thank you so much to Mr. Raskin, to my former professor in law school, and I want to address the body. I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day.
Hold on, beloveds. Let me stop the share, because before I play her response, let's go to what he said and how he said it when he accused her, Representative Biggs, that is, when he accused her of being in cahoots, supposedly, with Epstein and getting advice from him on how to conduct an interrogation. Please pay attention.
Floor on November 18th, Congressman Andy Biggs condemned the actions of Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett for texting and allegedly taking advice from Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. Watch Biggs's remarks and then Plaskett's defense right here.
When you're sitting there in a sitting committee and you're having communications with a convicted sex offender, and you're taking their advice on how to ask questions, maybe you got a problem. Maybe your problem is that you've brought disrepute on the House. And this isn't from the articles. This is from the 10,000 pages or so released last week from the Oversight Committee that they received from the Epstein estate. This isn't fishing around. This is coming from real evidence. So I sit here and I listen, oh, you know, she's the finest member that ever walked the planet, man. That's what you heard. But the bottom line is this. She's sitting there seeking advice and counsel on how to ask questions from Jeffrey Epstein.
I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day. Everyone knows at that hearing in February, the entire country was watching. As Michael Cohen decided he was going to finally give up information about what was happening in the Trump world, the Trump enterprise. And at the beginning of that hearing, the ranking member, Jim Jordan, had the disrespect to Elijah Cummings, may he rest in peace and his name be a memory, after not allowing Mr. Jordan to shut the committee hearing down. And I turned to Mr. Jordan and told him to have respect for the chair and to basically shut up. And that moment went viral. And I began to get innumerable texts from friends, from foes, from constituents about what was happening in that hearing. And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation, and who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody.
For more congressional news, stay tuned to Congress Clips. On the House floor on November 18th, Congressman Andy Biggs condemned the action.
Forgot I was muted. Okay, so you all heard that. She said she doesn't need to get any advice on how to do her job, basically. Okay, and I find it interesting they're going in on her. But what do they have to say about Trump and all his ties to Epstein? Okay, leave that woman alone. All right, she didn't know. She didn't know all that stuff about Epstein. Trump did. She didn't know all those things about Epstein, but Trump sure did. He knew for years. Okay. He knew for years. We saw the emails and everything else. But before I close out this broadcast, and I will be back later at about 6:30, so make sure you tune in because you don't want to miss it. But before I tune out, just one thing I want to say to the Latinas for Trump that have had family members and friends deported and kids, basically snatched up on the way to school by ICE. and who are being surveilled clearly.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
That's unfair. This is unfair. I'm so sorry I can't work in it.
Let me ask
I don't know how I'm going to say that to my mom. My mom has a bad time.
Judelka Mejia cannot believe she's going back home without her nephew, 29-year-old Yasael Almonte Mejia. Like many other immigrants, when their case is dismissed, they are detained at the hallway.
All I have to say to that is, I will vote for Donald Trump. Okay, that's what they said. How do y'all feel now? Yikes. Okay, pretty bad. And y'all have the audacity, dare I say, to try to go in on African Americans. Check yourselves before you wreck yourselves. All right. Okay, please. Anyway, with that all being said, I'm out. Okay? Because it looks like they effed around and found out, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so with that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. And look, I'm not talking about all Latinas, just the racist ones who voted for Trump. Okay, that's what y'all did. I will vote for Donald Trump. Look where it got you is all I'm saying, okay? On that note, I'm out. Like, share, subscribe, and double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving notifications. And I will see you all at 6:30. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got